All right, welcome back to KeyShot World 2020 Virtual Edition. Thanks you for joining us. My name is Derek Cicero. I'm the Vice President of Products and Strategy here at Lexion. This is session 2 with George Olarte from Spin Master. If you missed session 1, I recommend it. It's on YouTube Live, our YouTube channel now. We're also going to post it on our website. That's What's New in KeyShot 9 with Ryan Levy, and really walks you through all the basics of what's new in KeyShot 9, and also kind of directs you to additional information on sessions such as real cloth, fuzz, and all the great stuff that's in KeyShot 9. Be sure to hang around after today's session because we're doing our first giveaway. We're doing a GoPro Hero 7 camera. So that'll happen in the Q&A. A big thank you to the folks at GoPro, longtime KeyShot users over there. Reminder, please follow us on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, our newsletter, of course, always great. Hashtag KeyShot World to follow along. Also want to remind you, Render Weekly is doing their contest all week, so please have some fun there, make some cool renders, post them up there. And speaking of fun, you're going to love this presentation. George Olarte, Diary of a Wimpy Package Designer, really informative, really goes through his journey from KeyShot novice to KeyShot expert over at Spin Master. Really excited to have George do this, and big thank you to him for pivoting and moving this online. And so with that, I'm going to kick it over to George to give us his wonderful session.
Thank you. Thanks for Lexion and KeyShot for having me. This has been a great honor, so really excited. Just to give you guys a heads up, I've been having some issues with my presentation. It's been acting up, so if it acts up, please don't mind. Oh, you know what? I just realized something.
Do you need a quick restart?
No, yeah, I forgot to share the sound, so apologies. Apologies for that, guys.
No problem at all.
All right. Told you I was having some issues.
Yeah. Diary of a Wimpy Packaging Designer.
The KeyShot Odyssey. And this is really a journey of myself.
Come on, George. Tell them what you really wanted to call this presentation.
I wanted to call it the KeyShot Odyssey. What else was I gonna? I did not want to call it Revenge of the Wimp. I said you weren't gonna do this.
I know what I said, but here we are.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. All right, I knew you were gonna act up. Can we just get this thing started, please? Please.
Well, let's get this show on the road.
All right. Can you get into whip mode, please? Thank you. Jeez. All right. Hello. My name is George Olarte. That's me. And for the last decade, I have been a graphic designer at the global toy and entertainment company Spin Master. Spin Master has been designing and developing, manufacturing consumer products for children all around the world since 1994. We bring you Hatchimals, Paw Patrol, Erector, Bakugan, Etch-a-Sketch, guns, swimways. We bring you all kinds of stuff that your kids ask for on Christmases and birthdays. I'm here to speak to you about my experiences with KeyShot, the powerful application we're all here to celebrate, virtually all over the world. I'm going to walk you through a couple of projects I use KeyShot with, and through these stories, I hope to show you the power of the software and how it transformed me as a packaging designer. I can remember my first KeyShot conference I went to. May 2017. Render World! So this is where all the cool kids are. You got all the Art Center car designers in one corner. Over there are the super futuristic CG guys. And over here, all alone, is wannabe 3D user, AKA me. And full disclosure, I am not a 3D artist. The last 3D program I used was Poser. I don't know if you guys ever used Poser, but that was the first 3D program I've ever used, or the last one I can remember. So I'm not, well versed in the 3D world. But here at this conference, I was among some of the best and brightest. And one of the presenters, he had a great presentation. I loved his work, and I saw him and I wanted to pick his brain. So this is how the conversation went. Great presentation. You have a chance to talk? And he was like, sure, what's up? And I'm a designer and he's a designer. I thought maybe I could pick his brain and ask him some questions. So I was like, curious if you ever used the software. And he had a frown on his face and he was like, looked over my shoulder and was like, food's here. And I was like, okay. And he turned his back on me. It was such an awkward moment, so much silence. And before I could even thank him, another person walks up and she was like, no presentation. You have a chance to talk? And he was like, sure, what's up? Totally blew me off. And I thought to myself, one day I'll be on that stage talking about my craft, just like him, but better. But how? You guys heard it. The last 3D program I used was Poser. But KeyShot was already making an impact on my projects, like the Meccano Mecha Spider. Now, this was the first package I designed using KeyShot, and this is what the final package turned out to be. But this is just a sliver of Mecha Spider's true story. We have to go further back to see the true history of this package. This is going to be kind of like Inception, people, because it's primitive. Enter 2016. The Meccano team was developing a mechanized robotic spider, and I was tasked with creating the packaging for the New York Toy Fair. And this is a working model I got of the Mecha Spider. At the time, it was called Arachnoid. It was a pretty big model. It's huge. It like took the space of that whole table. And I got the model, took it back to our makeshift studio, shot some photos, and after some time, clipping the photo out of the background, which which is everyone's pain, I'm sure. I had a decent image of my spider, one decent image, because I wasn't going to go back and clip out a bunch of images. That's just too much. And my intention was to kind of bring Mecha Spider into the Meccano line look. This is what the Meccano line look is that we've established. So this was the brand, and we were just gonna kind of fit the Mecha Spider within that branding. My intention was to maybe make the Mecha Spider's tail pop off the edge of the package. We did something similar with the Mechasaur, where we kind of broke frame on the box so that the spider head could pop out from the top. So that was my idea. And it wasn't well received at the New York Toy Fair. Nobody really liked how it looked, and they had just got a new director for the overall team. And I felt like maybe our creativity was being questioned. But I knew I had to get the CAD of the spider if I wanted to get more dynamic poses. And I'd already been using Photoshop to kind of pose sort of my models and then throw them on top of images to kind of see what a packaging front could look like. But it was super barbaric and it wasn't intuitive at all for me. All my renders usually came out grayish and blah, but it got the job done. And that's how the process was for me initially. So I finally got the CAD of the Mecha Spider and brought it into Photoshop. And I was fussing around, struggling a little bit when Tyson from our 3D department was walking by, and he looked at my screen and looked at me and was like, you could do that better in KeyShot. And I was like, what's KeyShot? And after begging IT to get KeyShot onto my computer, I finally was able to mess around with sort of the environments that KeyShot had, playing around with the lighting, the materials, the HDRIs. I'm saying all this stuff like I know what I'm talking about, but I was really a novice at this. But soon enough, I had a cool little render of this Mecha Spider. And I like how I kind of showed the contrast between how the light shone behind it, on a stark white background, it doesn't look as cool, but if you throw it into Photoshop with some sort of weird light source, maybe give it some LEDs, and all of a sudden you got an image that is presentable. I liked it. I mean, I was so jazzed and geek. I think I was walking around with this image around the office and showing all the 3D guys, look what I could do. But it was fun. Playing around KeyShot at this time was pretty fun. December 2016. Time to show the creative director what I've been working on. Armed with my KeyShot renders and some packaging concepts, I start presenting my ideas. And we had a head start in creating the structure for this packaging. Jerry, who's a structural engineer, met the challenge of giving us a package that was not just a box, had some cool little chamfers and angles. And so anything we move beyond this would be a cherry on top. So for the first concept I had was this packaging that had a big fifth panel. So the front had a hero image of the mecha spider, and then when you open it, the mecha spider is spraying the kid with its internal water system, spraying system. And maybe below it, you'll have some sort of information on what the mecha spider could do and some little shots of lifestyle. Option 2 was this lenticular idea. But if you guys know what a lenticular is, it's like one of those movie images. Not like Harry Potter, but sort of like those bookmarks you got when you were a kid. But so you would walk around this package, and as you're walking, the mecha spider would sort of rotate and move. At the time, we were like studying a lot of new technologies in lenticulars, so we wanted to see if we could capture some of that tech in our packaging. And for option 3, I thought, what if we could die cut the packaging so that you could see the brain of the mecha spider and actually see the product all the way through to the package and have it somehow be part of the mecha spider graphic on the front. The idea is maybe it had a fifth panel too, so you lift it up and you see sort of the information, some STEM stuff that you would see with normal STEM kind of packaging. But my creative director interrupted me. He was like, no, 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 no. We got to do something crazy, he sneered. Let's make a pop-up spider with a spider jumping at you. How? Dunno, but make it happen. But and my creative director at the time really had some weird obsession with like creating a pop-up for packaging. And so every so often he would bring it up and this was no different. So I went back to my drawing board and came up with a pop-up option, which would utilize that image that I'd created initially with a mecha spider sort of in the dark and waiting. And when you open up, you get this pop-up spider head that jumps out at you. And I knew this would work because I did some sort of research on pop-ups and different things. And I saw that making a box would be the simplest mechanism to create a pop-up. And since Mecha Spider's head was the shape of a box essentially, I could create a quick mock-up and see how this would look like. We knew we had upped the game a little bit to show this new director that we had the creativity in us to give them stuff they wanted. It just would cost a lot. Creativity is money. And so I took this pop-up idea. I gave it to my structural engineer, Jerry, who's amazing, and he came back and gave me a die line for that spider head. And so I took the die line back to my desk. I fired up KeyShot. And what was cool about KeyShot was I was able to render the mecha spider's head, like all the flat panels of it in this, I think it's called orthographic lens. And it's sort of a setting that the image looks flat, but you can see the dimensionality to it, the lighting, the way the light hits off of it. And I was able to create all those panels of the head so that when it folded, it looked like a spider head. And I took those sketches that I initially created and gave them to a concept artist to tighten up so that way when we presented, we could really be buttoned up and show sort of our vision of how this would go. And this was that fifth panel idea with the panel that lifts up and you could see Mecha Spider spraying the kid. I just like that idea of like you open something up and then you get this great imagery. 2 was the lenticular idea so that when you walked around, you could see the spider moving. And mind you, we had the white structures of this package there so they could see it physically and then they could see it in our sketches. And this was that option where you saw the translucent body inside the spider with the fit panel that lifted up. And the fourth option was that spider pop-up. And what was cool, I really like the sketch, but what was cool is that we actually took the graphics that I created and mocked up a version of this package. So not only did we show the sketch, we laid the actual package on the table, asked the director to open it, and when he opened it, the spider head popped out at him. Now, it was cool for a mock-up and just to see it like right there how something like this would work. I know if it did get chosen, we would probably send it to a real pop-up artist and he'd probably give some more amazing pop-up spider. But just to have that there and something that I could just do really quickly in showing in a presentation was amazing. And it really got everybody excited. Even the director, he was impressed with everything we'd done. So didn't really want to question anything else we were thinking of, and you know, realized that we couldn't spend a lot of money on the packaging, and we just had to come up with a great render of Mecha Spider. So I went back to the 3D team, and they were able to give me a great render of the spider, put that guy on packaging, and that was pretty much the story of how this Mecha Spider packaging happened. The final had sort of that Apple soft touch finish on it. The great angles on the packaging was cool, and then the spider itself had a spot UV varnish, so it had some real great pop off of that dull matte finish. April 2017. KeyShot, where have you been all my life? I've totally hopped onto using KeyShot for posing CAD and making early renders, lighting studies, etc. KeyShot was increasing my work output and ability to work through concepts rather quickly. Around this time, I was also learning how to use another program called Esco Studio, a 3D packaging software that visualizes packaging in real time, much like KeyShot does with Product CAD. I spent most of these months learning both of these programs. They were kind of like the infinity stones for me. But this is just an example of what Studio could do. This was my first 3D render. It creates the window blister, the chip art, the foil board material, outer carton, that reflective floor that you do in Photoshop. It does it for you. Packaging artwork, it just wraps it around the packaging die line. Inner blister, the plastic part that holds the toy usually, and then actual product. And using Studio and learning it was a difficult thing. I always felt like everything was backwards, but learning KeyShot the time before and sort of learning how to operate within a 3D environment and space really helped me to navigate through Studio. And in some time, I was able to create some packages with Studio. And this was like one of the first packages where I was really playing around with a window blister, multiple cartons and packaging structures together, and then also the product within there. And the Studio is really great for this. And what was really cool about Studio is that it could kick out a KeyShot file. And in the KeyShot file, once you bring that packaging files into KeyShot and you start adding more different textures and material, you start really getting some great images like this, where the drama on the product and the lighting situation is just kicked up a notch more. Just to give you an example of what's on Amazon, if you look on Amazon, this is the image that you see. And you know, it serves its purpose well. And if we had time to render every single package, you know, then all the packages could look great. You know, of course, I wish they'd use this package. Maybe that's why it's on sale. August 2017. Major emergency meeting today. New project lands on my lap, which should be cool, right? Only we have a little over a month to nail the design and get it approved. Yeah, I'm not worried at all. This next project was Boxer Bod. It had gotten a lot of attention at the New York Toy Fair, And the team wanted to capitalize on the attention and get it out to Mark. Boxer, are you there? There he is. The pint-sized robot with a whole lot of personality. But before he was this beautiful, charming guy, he had some real humble beginnings, as this render here. And this was the first render I created using the CAD for Boxer. Was one of the first CADs where I actually played with the LEDs without faking it in Photoshop, going in there and like throwing a LED on the material, or I forgot how I did it, but I did it. And really looking at the way Pixar does animates static things, and looking at Jim Henson and how they bring things to life, but trying to bring some life into this character. And so I thought shooting him at an angle, like he's almost about to tip over, playing with his eyes, that could really bring him to life. And so I had this render along with some other ideas, but we didn't have a lot of time. Usually at this time we have these beautiful blue line sketches that you saw when we concept, and I knew I had to rely on my own concepting skills and sketches. So these were like the first run at I am not also a concept sketcher, so but I knew I could jump some hurdles using Studio and KeyShot. So this was the first option where it was a box. That's that first image you see on the left is a side angle of the box. It shows Boxer maybe pulling up a wheelie. The whole top is is acetate or a blister. The middle shot is the image facing you, and the third one is the back. So it's pretty straightforward. They knew that they wanted to make Boxer a cube-like packaging, so that was easy for us. Option 2 was this clamshell box, and the idea was that the top would be a big blistered dome with Boxer maybe peeping out, and this box would kind of open like a clamshell. And maybe the idea was if we opened the box, Boxer would turn on, or you would say something. So that was the an unboxing moment for that guy. And for option 3, which is these sketches don't get any better. Anyways, the idea behind here was if you open the box, maybe there'd be a color change, or the Boxer would turn on. You'd see some sort of information on the inside. I thought maybe if I made them blue, they would be better, but no, they're not. But they got the idea across, and I knew what I wanted to do. It wasn't like I was going to hand these sketches to somebody else. I knew that these sketches were for me and our structural designer to create die lines for. So once I brought the structural engineer attention to my die lines, he was able to give me some options. And so that first option, I took that die line and I started creating some imagery in KeyShot to support the packaging. This was the new CAD for Boxer. And so I wanted to show him playing with his ball, maybe show him from a lower angle, and his eyes would be a little bit happy. And trying to get some, real kind of cute expressions and emotives from this object. I even had the CAD for the controller that comes with. I put some Photoshop hands on there, and all of a sudden I have lifestyle. So, and I'm doing this all over the course of a couple of hours in the evening. Just to kind of try to get through some of these concepts and have imagery for them. So this was that die line, that the first option. Got some graphics on there, put the renders of the product, and then we bring it into ESCO Studio and start kicking out some renders of packaging. And so you can see it didn't deviate too far from my sketch, only because I knew exactly where I wanted to take these, and I could jump over a couple of hurdles because I knew what I wanted to do with the sketches. These were the turnarounds. For the second option, which was at Clamshell. I wanted to work with metallics and KeyShot. And so playing around with that anodized blue metal was really fun. There was rumors that down the mill that the product was going to be blue, and so I just jumped ahead and started messing around with the anodized blues, even though I didn't know exactly what blue they were picking. It's not like I was trying to steer the conversation. Armando, if you're listening. uh, also, playing around with KeyShot, I was learning about the tune shade filter and being able to create imagery that was sort of like a blueprint. And so this was really fun and exciting, and gave me some more imagery that I could show. Like this product not only is a fun little robot, but he's also very technically advanced. There was a lot of touch points on this guy to make him interact and do different things. He really had a lot of stuff that he did. And you'll see later on that some of that imagery will permeate through some of the graphics and some of the other things for Boxer. And so this was that downline, that clamshell package. I got the graphics on there. We really trying to be a little bit more minimal with the graphics on this guy and have sort of an Apple aesthetic, as they would say. So it really helps with sort of folding the box so those edges of those packages where they connect help. I mean, it helps to like steer it so it's correct through the studio renders. And so when you open it, you get this like great flash of this blue metallic box on the inside. You know, go from that white to this like pop of like metallic. That's something that I was like doing in my work, I guess. And these are the turnarounds. So for the unboxing moment on this guy, we wanted to take it up a notch from the first option, which there was pretty much no unboxing moment, to what if you open the package and a ball would pop out. And I know it's not him turning on or him jumping off, but we thought, you know, it'd be a simple way for the consumer to interact with the package before he even, you know, turns on the robot. And I remember the conversation was going like when they were asking, what can we get? Can this guy turn on? Can he interact with people? And we're like, you know, the best bet you'll get is a ball popping out of the package. And I think Tanya, the brand manager at the time, was like, sold, you know, give it to me. So so we definitely we try to bake that into one of the concepts. For option 3, I wanted to go back into the dark, sort of like Mecha Spider, and work with sort of the HDRIs and how they lit up the object. You know, I'm a fan of Star Wars, so I love the way the lightsaber lights hit off Darth Vader's helmet. And so, you know, playing around with sort of the lighting and KeyShot and how to manipulate that was really fun for me. I mean, my little guy is looking like he's going to EDC. And you know, you throw some lines and he's like jamming. It was really fun working sort of in this sort of environment. Not a lot of times you can get in dark and mess around with spotlights, but here you're messing around with hundreds of different spotlights on your guy to kind of get him shining. And this was that dial line for that last sketch that I didn't really like, but you know, as the more I worked on it, the more I really started liking it, and I was getting this Xbox vibe from it. I really like how sort of the packaging wraps around the graphic and the die cut for the eyes. You know, this is a studio render, so you know it's kind of like a Russian nesting doll where there's a robot within a robot. When you open the package, you get this great pop of color. The idea is that if you walk by the package, the eyes would come on and he would follow your eyes. His eyes would follow you, or he would like beep at you or something. But I really like where this package was going. Sort of the pack out for it, where you had the controller and the robot on that platform, and within the platform was all the instructions and the cards that came along with it, the USB cord and the ball. And the unboxing moment for this guy, we thought, what if you take Boxer, you turn off the lights, And when you open them, you get lights and sound. Yes, it was probably going to be expensive to create a packaging like that, but they could tell us if they can't afford it, and we could just tell them this is what we could do. We could give you from real mild to something so wild. It's up to you guys which one you want to chase. October 13, 2017. Friday the 13th. What could go wrong? I've only had a month to work on a QB project. I'm only presenting concepts to one of Spin Master's co-founders, Ben Verardi, and our CMO, Nancy Zures. Yeah, no sweat. But really, no sweat. Having those great renders of our packaging and having actual white structures there for Ben to look at, hold in his hands, and then also see how the graphics work, how the branding could look on the package, really helped him and Nancy sort of solidify their decision on what they wanted. It wasn't like they were flying in the dark. We really gave them great visuals and great things to think about. Can you guys figure out which one they picked? Well, if you guys picked the middle one, you guys were correct. Ben loved the peekaboo concept, the minimal graphics, and the charm of the packaging. Nancy couldn't believe the speed in which we were able to deliver the packaging for this project from start to finish. And this box really became sort of the essence of Boxer and who he was. And I'm just gonna let Boxer tell you guys. Go ahead, Box.
Boxer, the Box Bot. You can take Boxer out of the box, but you can't take the box out of Boxer. He'll always be high-tech and hilarious. Just watch what you feed him. Boxer, Boxer, Boxer. Enormous play, tiny bot from Spin Master.
And it's one thing when your package holds the toy and it's something you throw away, but like you saw it's in the commercial. I mean, like the way you just busted out of that box and they're showing it here, and you could see those graphics on those cards that was influenced by those blueprint images. The box didn't really change too much from what we designed it. I mean, it was pretty fun to watch how this thing developed. And then there's a lot of unboxing moments too for this product. There's a lot of videos that went out. This is just one of them.
This is Boxer, your pint-sized, freewheeling robot, always on the move. He comes ready to play right out of the box with a ton of cool features. First, let's turn him on. Say hello to the camera, Boxer.
And yeah, Boxer was a great example of where KeyShot can go and what it did for us. And we've never looked back. The revolution I saw with KeyShot started for me with Meccano and Erector, and it grew from there. We've been using a lot of KeyShot renders on our Meccano packaging. Shout out to Jeff Ho, the designer for the Meccano and Erector. He's worked on a lot of great imagery for our packaging that supports a lot of KeyShot things. So, and yeah, I'm really impressed with how realistic you can get KeyShot, and then how cartoony you could get it. I guess that's the best way to say it. Like these look a little bit more younger, but we're all rendering it from KeyShot. Things still like this where it's like, you're in Arkansas where I'm at, and you're jumping in your side by side and hauling around. Or you're in Jeff's Corvette driving down the freeway. And it's just been great. Holy smoke, KeyShot, is this Batman? Recently acquired DC license has given us the opportunity to work on Batman, and the results have been amazing. I'm sort of doing a disservice to these vendors by putting them on a stark white background, but if you've seen them in the dark and you see the way they're lit up from left and right, it's pretty amazing. You could see the texture on Batman's outfit. That's That's great. And even Batwoman's that sort of Kevlar texture you see on there. So you get these amazing pack shots with KeyShot. Um, things like Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Monster Jam has been a beast of a line with many waves of vehicles, special treatments, and deco. To keep up, Pete has just been pumping out renders and imagery like a pro. He's been great. Products like Twisty Pets, where we need the plastics to feel very jewelry-esque. We get that from KeyShot, and we're able to make those images really sparkle. And get those lights really on them, really nice. It's cool. I can't even imagine how much retouching we'd have to do if some of these were shot. But we can't get it away from it. But it is nice to be able to create some really beautiful pack shots and with KeyShot. We do a lot of Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol is huge for us. These are some of the images from their diecast line. So, having KeyShot being able to just churn out renders of the new products as Paw Patrol goes bigger, and will grow bigger when the Paw Patrol movie comes out in a couple of years. So be on the lookout for that, and be on the lookout for an explosion of imagery renders that you see for Paw Patrol. And I can't even count how many Bakugan we've made since the start of the last 2 years. I'm probably sure I'm not supposed to show you some of these, but Bakugan has been amazing, and to keep up, KeyShot has been helping us to sort of meet the tide on imagery for Bakugan and all the different products that come along with it. And the unsung heroes of this presentation is our Spin Master 3D visualization team. Their artistry and knowledge has been a game changer for us, and all credit to them. We started with Lena, who came all the way from Canada, and she started this team. She was by herself. I think she was doing all the renders for air hogs and zoomers and things, and she was by herself for a while. And soon Tyson joined the team, and he helped in sort of taking on the tide with Lena. And me and Tyson have worked on a lot of things together. Pete joined the team and has been taking on Monster Jam and other things, and Caitlin has joined to this amazing team. A lot of beautiful work they're creating, processes they're creating, the digital pipeline, all of it. It has gotten us the attention that we deserve, and one of the reasons why I'm speaking here is because of them. So all credit to them. January 2020. You won't believe this. I was invited to speak at KeyShot World. It's been a long journey, but I felt that one day I would be up here. And I had done some presentations early in the year talking about my process, and this caught the interest of KeyShot peeps like Sherry Miller. She reached out to me, and my lifelong dream of of revealing my process and how KeyShot has enhanced me and my career, it was going to come true. Yeah, almost didn't happen, but we all made it happen through all you guys' help and all you guys chiming in. So thank you so much. And that's the true story of how I stopped being a wimpy packaging designer with the help of KeyShot.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
That was a great presentation. Really, just it's so wonderful to sort of see how your process changed over time as you kind of became more and more comfortable and confident in KeyShot. You really kind of just kept bringing more and more of the features to bear in your kind of designs and concepts. So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me all right?
I can.
Okay.
So we have some questions from the audience. Everyone, if you go on to the bottom there, you'll see a little Q&A tab. Feel free to put your questions in there for George, and I'll go ahead and ask them, and George can answer them for us. So we'll start off, George, with KeyShot animation. Have you used the animation tools in KeyShot at all, or has anyone else used the animation tools for any of the product advertisements?
I haven't used it particularly though, but I know that Tyson has, and I've seen him actually. When we started the process of creating some new Bakugan imagery, Tyson had showed me this Bakugan image of the ball rolling out and then hitting the magnet and exploding into his robot form. So I've seen Tyson do it. I have not done it. I'm pretty sure if I tried, I would be spending like 3 months and nights looking at tutorials and different things.
Well, I'll do a little plug for us because this Wednesday is Animation Essentials from Part to Material with Will Gibbons. So if you want to get started in animation, that's a great one to start with. And then Will's going to come back and do advanced animation later in the week. So definitely check that out if you want to learn more about animation and KeyShot. A couple other questions for you. One focus person's asking, where do you see the future of packaging using 3D visualization going? And so kind of obviously with the new tools and sort of new ability, it kind of increases what you can do in packaging and kind of making things easier to convert, concepts to reality. So can you speak a bit about kind of where you maybe see this going in the next 2 to 3 years?
You know, for me, like in the immediate time, I see it helping packaging designers think more in a 3D space and realm. Oftentimes when we're designing, we're designing on a flat Illustrator file, and we're not thinking about how the packaging works in 3D. So immediately, I see it helping us just to think about packaging in 3D terms. Where I see it going in the future is, the more and more we create these beautiful packages, and the more they actually work, like using Esca Studio, you can make sure that the packaging actually works. I could see us doing unboxing, from online through media, and just looking at how a thing would open up and come at you, and maybe we could start thinking about how we could do that digitally in packaging. But yeah, no, I see a lot of rendering package planograms digitally, so that we could see how it would look at a store. So I definitely have different uh, visions and hopes for 3D packaging, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Great, thank you. One person's mentioning that it seems like a lot of kind of what you learned is sort of self-taught, and you kind of did a lot of trial and error. Did you go? I mean, what were kind of your go-tos in terms of, did you go to school for packaging design? Did you learn all of this just from kind of online tutorials? What was sort of your journey in terms of the education process?
Well, I went to school for graphic design, and at school we learned multiple disciplines: packaging, uh, uh, graphics, illustration, and so everything I do is sort of a combination of that. But up until this point, I had not done any 3D work. So up maybe Poser and some maybe 3D Studio Max, learning how to extrude something, but never any classes or anywhere I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to learn today, and this is what we're going to do today. Nothing like that. So everything was self-taught, and sort of asking our 3D guys on how to do something, and just working off to the side, and playing around with things. That's how I learned it. I'm pretty sure if I was taught formally, I'd probably be way better. But that's just how it rolled.
Great. Well, thank you. Another question is, have you used the contour texture feature in KeyShot 9 to kind of enhance the more cartoonish aspects of the toys and kind of give them that almost kind of beyond real kind of cartoonish look?
I have not. I did. I mean, I played around with sort of the tune filter and some, tune shading and some things like that, but not anything where I'm physically manipulating the actual cat itself. That's something Tyson and Pete probably do on the 3D team. So definitely probably would have to ask them if they do stuff like that. But I would love to, because then it's something I can mess around with in my imagery for the packaging, and when I give that to him, he can sort of copy exactly what I'm trying to play around with.
Great. Well, maybe we can do a joint quick tip with you and some packaging and the contour shader,
Awesome.
contour texture. Um, are you utilizing labels for the packaging graphics or using another method for post work in Photoshop? So I think
Um,
asking how you guys actually get the labels. So I guess he's asking, are you actually putting the labels on the CAD in KeyShot or doing that later?
I believe Tyson has been, since Tyson does all the final renders. I think they do all that they do all the work on sort of the CAD file of it, and then they add those labels on later. The labels are in the toy world are called decos, and so those decos get applied to the actual CAD. So that way, you know, it's not like a Photoshop trick where like, oh, okay, I need to reapply the eyes. It's actually on the products, and we're rotating it and we're exporting those renders. We have those images. I've done a little bit of adding labels, but they've always been flat. They never actually curve the products, so I could get away with doing some stuff, but not all the stuff.
Yeah, and that's where the UV wrapping can come in to help with, you know, making sure that it sort of lays on the surface correctly. Are there any features in KeyShot 9 that you really have really kind of enhanced your workflow, or what's kind of the biggest one?
Um, this is gonna sound bad, but I have not actually even fired up KeyShot 9 yet. I'm still like surviving off of what KeyShot is on my computer right now. You know, and I've been I don't usually get into features. I when I fire up KeyShot, it's to get me along with my daily stuff, which is like creating renders of packaging or renders of product that could go on packaging and different things like that. But I do want to play around with the fur. I know that I've watched the team kind of struggle with creating sort of soft goods and other things like that for our team. Now that we have fur and all that soft stuff for KeyShot, this is like something that we could start implementing on our own products.
Yeah, you know, that's an issue for a lot of people, right? I mean, they have their workflow. They have, I mean, they're at work to get their job done. They don't always have time to dig into new features, and so hopefully, you know, this next week and a half here of presentations will give some people some guidance into kind of how to really unlock the power of KeyShot 9 and you know, find those features that they can find useful in their workflow. Another question is, I'm sure most creatives can understand this one. You know, when you show those really high-end glossy renders, and does the client start to think it's finished packaging? And do you find it sometimes hard, almost that, you know, you're kind of providing too perfect of an image, and it's actually easier to keep the drafts more raw, so people don't take them so literally? Have you experienced that problem?
Of course, and this is actually something I wanted to touch upon. I didn't know that someone would actually ask me this question. So I've done actual, like, I'll take that packaging and I'll throw a tune filter on it, so it looks like a sketch and looks like a blueprint sketch. And so I'm already showing it like at a stage where it's not super polished, but it gets them to that idea like, oh wow, this is what it could look like. Um, and so you have this like image of your packaging where it's almost like a blue line sketch using the tune filter, and then, you know, maybe run a couple of distortion passes on it so it looks like a sketch. But but I understand where you want to dumb it down so that way it doesn't feel like they weren't part of the journey on that packaging. And you could do that with sort of KeyShot and creating sort of in between step of that final image you have, and an image that was like tune filtered or tune shaded. I don't know if that explains, but send me an email if you want some more answers.
Yeah, are you on Twitter, on social media, George, for people to kind of, you
I,
know?
I I'm on LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube channel. I think it's Chuck Larte or something like that.
Okay, great. So people can follow George on LinkedIn if they kind of want to dig in more and ask him some kind of questions about his process. One question is, how much of your work is sort of the final consumer-facing packaging and marketing, and how much is just the conceptual, you know, getting to final design stage? Is there kind of a general breakdown of that?
Um, well, I pretty much just showed you the process of everything I do, but everything I do, it usually hits an end phase. So I am part of the process all the way to the very end. So um, I guess half of it is concept and half of it is finalizing it. But yes, I do see the package all the way through from sketch Even one time, I think a year ago, I was in China. I was in China, yeah, I was in China looking at the press check for a boxer, which you know, is it seems so crazy and far away now. But yes, I was there looking at boxers. So
Awesome. But beyond ESCO and KeyShot, are there any other 3D software that's a big part of your workflow?
um, not. Yeah, I want to get Rhino into the mix and something else that I can manipulate CADs with, but I do not have a go-to CAD manipulator, sort of like SolidWorks or Rhino. I wish there was something for me that's intuitive and something that I could use. I'm still shopping around. I had a license for Rhino at one point and it disappeared, and I've been so lazy to try to get back up and running. But having one of those could really help in sort of creating blister shapes and different things like that for my packaging.
That's great. One person's asking, have you found that kind of KeyShot, sort of the quality of the visuals has changed kind of the ideas and sort of the cost of what you're willing to do? Like, has sort of the quality of what you're presenting sort of changed their mindset of what they're willing to invest inside of the packaging and kind of get more exciting and kind of unique visuals?
Of course, yes. I mean, yes, totally. It's one thing to show a white structure. I mean, we recently we were showing some packaging where we had some white structures for this packaging, and we were leaning towards this, leaning towards one package, but when we saw like how the graphics were applied to all the packaging and different things, and just seeing it beautifully, changed everybody's mind, and all of a sudden we started leaning in towards this other package. So yes, like getting some great visuals of what the product could look like in the very end on packaging could be great in sort of selling your ideas. Oftentimes we'll throw something we shot in iPhoto and our iPhone, and then we'll clip it out and we'll oversaturate it. We'll mess around and try to get some weird highlights, and it just never looks as good as a render from KeyShot. So and plus you don't have to fuss around with all that photoshopping with it, or even clipping it out, because you're rendering it in a translucent transparent background. You're not worrying about that. You're worrying about the design, and so that's what's been really great.
Great. Have you done any AR work at all to try to to tie in like kind of iPhone elements to the packaging?
Yeah, no, that's something that has been a holy grail that I've always been trying to reach for and capture. Every time we get to a certain point, it always feels like it's too costly, or we ran out of time. But we definitely been like over the years been just trying to bake that concept in there beforehand. We're looking at different ways that a phone could recognize a QR code, or even the shape of the packaging to drum up that AR image of, for me, I was like wanting a Bakugan, so that when you aim your phone at the box, a Bakugan render would pop out, even transform. And that is like a holy grail I've always been looking at, and something I've always wanted to do. It just depends on if I could, get other people to jump on board.
Awesome. Your coworker Caitlin says great job, and that they actually have been bringing in a lot of the assets into Maya via FBX, or animating in Maya, bringing FBX into KeyShot, and then doing the actual rendering out in KeyShot. So it sounds like the team is doing the rendering, it's not the actual animation tool. So I think next step is you guys definitely dig in on those KeyShot animation tools.
Excellent.
So one person's asking, obviously with KeyShot and the ability to kind of bring in those really high quality photoreal renders early in the process, which is kind of replacing photography, you can kind of almost work in parallel with kind of the marketing teams alongside the production teams. As you've kind of embraced KeyShot, do you have an estimate like how much time you guys are saving in terms of bringing products to market with sort of this new process?
It varies. It varies per project and per product. I know that the boxer project, that happened like really over a course of a month and some in a week. So it's hard to quantify this stuff. I mean, I have a hard time quantifying it too. But I'll just say that it's priceless for me, and I feel it's priceless to the team, especially when they could see a product, and I see it visually how it will look in the packaging, how it would look in marketing, and different things like that. We could get a good pulse on if this thing is going to be cool or not.
That's awesome. And then one person's asking about how many variations do you do per product when you're kind of, I think they're meaning more kind of in like that sort of, you were showing sort of like 3 different, variations. Is that sort of the end of the process, or is it kind of, you start with like 20 and kind of whittle it down to 3?
Yeah, no, it starts like, for me, it starts like in 20. I hate giving it a number. I usually just go with what feels right. And it, depending on the project. For Boxer, there's probably 7 concepts we picked, or I'd created, and we whittled it down to the 4, or for Mecha Spider, excuse me, and then but for Boxer, I think I came with 6 on that one too. So definitely we do a lot, and then we go into some internal process where we whittle it away to the top 4 or 5 options we like. My boss Andy likes to pick numbers that are odd. So.
Great. Have you played with Key VR at all, and done any, or has anyone on the team done any look at Key VR?
Not for us. Not yet. I'm like we've talked of virtual planograms where you put on a headset and you walk up and you could interact with the toys like on a shelf in virtual space. But we haven't gotten anywhere yet. And there's a lot of skepticism if someone wants to put on a headset and walk into a store,
Yeah.
But maybe, I mean, look at now, right?
Yeah, well, that's a great point. And actually, I'll do a plug right now. On Thursday, we're going to have our Key VR Best Practices in Workflow session with Jesper Musgaard. So for people who are interested in doing kind of what you can do with VR, and he's also going to show a little sneak peek of some AR stuff that's possible with NVIDIA. I recommend that to kind of see where we're going for people that are curious with that. So we're kind of wrapping up here at the top of the hour. Great, everyone just was really thrilled with the presentation and really great feedback. Everyone's very interested. There's actually a gentleman who wants to interview you for an article after this, George. So I'd say,
oh, wow.
it went really well.
Can I give a shout out to? Is that cool?
Absolutely, please do.
Oh, I just want to give a shout out to the 3D visualization team. I want to send a shout out to the visual branding teams worldwide. Shout out to Serge, Rick, Andy, and Deanne for their support and pushing me. And I want to send a shout out to Nancy, Gary, and Benny for their leadership. More than now, we need leadership, and they have been great leaders through all of this. So thank you, and kudos to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the session. So that kind of wraps up. Before we go, I'm going to do a giveaway, but that wraps up our sessions for today. Again, those will be on our YouTube channel immediately. They'll also be posted online on the Zoom recordings on our website, which I understand is actually a little down right now because of all the traffic, which is something we're going to resolve once this is over. And then tomorrow, come back for KeyShot Essentials. What we've really kind of done is done our Essentials series in the beginning, so we're really digging into the core parts of KeyShot, and then as we get deeper into this week and next week, we'll get into the more advanced feature sets. But it says KeyShot Essentials, User Interface and Workflow, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific with Ryan Levy. And then at noon is Design Innovation at Pepsi utilizing KeyShot with Jacob Fine. Similar to kind of how George's journey was, it talks about how Jacob has used KeyShot at Pepsi and how he's really kind of just changed how some of his workflows operate and really changed some of his timelines on delivery. So so that's great. So all right, here we go. Let me get our winner is Jeff Yasher from Ingersoll Rand. You are the winner of the Hero 7 GoPro camera. Again, I want to thank GoPro for that. Jeff Yasher, I hope I'm saying that right, from Ingersoll Rand. Jeff, we will follow up with you directly over email. And like I said, we'll get you that prize as soon as we're kind of physically able to do so. But thank you, everyone, for joining. This has been great. Please, reminder, follow us online, follow our newsletter. We'll be doing these twice a day here between now and April 2nd. And so we hope you enjoyed it. And one last thank you to George.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.